production of minerals that are required to make batteries for electric vehicles and long-term energy storage. That order could help companies receive federal funding for studies on projects that extract materials for EV production. The White House, which has set a goal of 50% electronic vehicles by 2030, is also working to construct a national network of charging stations. Folks, that's a good news because President Biden should definitely do more for the American people and send out stimulus checks. If you guys agree with me, then tell me in the comments below. So President Biden has revealed that he wants to authorize a huge new stimulus effort. Lawmakers are allocating billions of dollars of unused stimulus funds towards a brand new batch of stimulus checks. These new payments will be going out to low and middle income households that are being impacted by the crisis right now. So folks, President Biden can definitely do more for the American people, and I believe that he will send out more stimulus checks this year. Now the good news for millions of people in Pennsylvania, well, you could be in line for $2,000 stimulus checks thanks to your governor. Tom Wolf, the governor of Pennsylvania, has called for state legislators to approve his plan to use federal crisis relief money for a stimulus check. Wolf is hoping to splash $500 million from his state's $2.2 billion in unspent stimulus funds to help people living in the state to deal with the cost of living. The plan, if it is passed, would be a one-time payment worth up to $2,000 for some recipients. Households with an income of $80,000 or less would be eligible for the checks if the governor's proposal passes. Wolf's plan is also backed by Maureen Madden, who said it will be one of the great assistance for those facing severe economic hardships. Representative Madden told reporters, even as the economy recovers in record fashion and unemployment numbers continue to drop, we're still facing worldwide inflation, and the higher cost of living has impeded the recovery of working-class families who are the lifeblood of our communities. The plan also says that if the state government is unable to spend the full $2.2 billion by the end of 2024, any remaining funds will be returned to the federal government, as well as the stimulus payment. An additional $225 million will be set aside to help small businesses hurt in crisis. Now another $325 million will be handed to the state healthcare system, and an additional $450 million given to conservation and preservation efforts, as well as the revitalization of communities in Pennsylvania. Now the governor announced his full details of stimulus plans, stating that gas prices are up and rent and food prices are also up. It's $2,000 and it's up to you to spend it however you want, he says. Now it's really great to see that lawmakers are finally helping people in their own state. Now during an interview with the Washington Post, Representative Khanna shared that he took out $100,000 in student loans to attend college and later struggled to make monthly payments. Khanna also struggled and showed that fellow liberal lawmakers like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders have shared their plans or introduced plans to cancel student loan debt. Khanna has emphasized that President Biden has the power to do so. He said, "These are the vital steps for our nation, but this is a moment that demands bold action. If he can suspend interest payments, he can forgive the principal. If he can cancel student debt for some, then he can cancel for those in need." The Hill reported last week that President Biden is planning to move forward with a plan to forgive at least $10,000 of student loan debt per borrower. That's good, everybody, and I think that President Biden can definitely do more and help even more people with stimulus checks. The Hill reported last week that President Biden is planning to move forward with a plan to forgive at least $10,000 of student loan debt per borrower. The administration announced last month an extension of the crisis moratorium for federal student loan payments and interest growth, with August 31st being the latest deadline for the moratorium. The moratorium enacted by the former president has been renewed 5 times, and the Department of Education also announced last month that thousands of borrowers could see their loans forgiven.
Read.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Let me go back, Mr. Secretary, to an issue that's in a mansion race, that's LIHEAP. I'm pleased to say that the President slightly increased LIHEAP in his budget this year, but the reality is that energy prices are just exploding. In the past 12 months alone, the price of natural gas has increased by 22%, and the price of heating oil has increased by 70%. Would you support any type of supplemental funding to enhance the LIHEAP so we can deal with this extraordinary increase in prices?
Senator, we would support any effort to try to further fund LIHEAP given the circumstances that we're in.
Thank you very much. Also, let me go back to the point you raised, which I'm pleased that you're moving aggressively. That's the 988 number. We all understand that we're in a mental health crisis in the country. I hear that not only from my constituents, but as I visit troops around the globe, I hear it from our military personnel also. And we just had terrible incident of multiple suicides on one of our Navy carriers. 988 is a great idea, I think. It has something to do with it, that's why I think that way. But anyway, it's going to allow someone to call who has a suicidal ideation and try to get help. But it has to be implemented thoroughly throughout the nation. In Rhode Island, my state has done, I think, a very good job of setting up the counseling centers, the technology, etc. But as I understand the system, if someone calls in and a state doesn't have the infrastructure, they're referred someplace else. So you have not a very good relationship, long distance, and also adding more work to states that have enough work already. So can you give us sort of a sense of how the nation is doing, and we're all going to come online together?
Thank you, Senator. And I do believe your state is doing very well in moving forward. We have a
Senator Hickenlooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Buttigieg, good to see you again. And again, thank you for your visit, which I kept getting feedback from people in the small towns where you would stop and speak to the people that work on the roads and help us deal with the landslides and a lot of the issues that we've had to face, and I'm sure you've been dealing with all across the country. So thank you for your service. Let me talk just for a moment about autonomous vehicles. I think they're a great opportunity for innovation. Benefits include safety, job creation, transformation of cities. While I was governor, we worked hard to ensure that Colorado would be welcoming to autonomous vehicle testing. And I guess one question I have is, how would the DOT ensure America maintains leadership in the autonomous vehicle technology?
Well, as your question notes, a great deal is in the hands of the states, so we need to make sure there's a healthy state-federal partnership to support that. Many states have offered themselves up as test beds for some of this technology, and that the vehicles are safe. We've been working to make use of exemptions and flexibilities under current law, but would also very much welcome the opportunity to work with Congress on an updated national legislative framework on AVs. As you know, the federal regulations tend to pertain to the physical characteristics of the car. State law tends to be enforced around the conduct of the driver. And we have an area in terms of the car becoming the driver that's simply not contemplated by this existing division of labor.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate that, because I think you can play a pivotal role here in trying to actually facilitate and maybe even orchestrate how this process goes forward, so that, as with the case we talked some time ago about elevators, where they had autonomous elevators back at the end of the 19th century, and yet they were not